everyone, and welcome to my video discussing, recapping and reviewing Love Island. The episode ends with a Ronnie reveal as Jess and Harriet put two and two together, but we'll get back to that as the episode starts with Mimi and Omar, who decided to steal. So Mimi steals this boy as it's been going well. How? Anyway, she steals Io, obviously. He doesn't look best pleased, but is this all a facade to impress Uma? And Uma has the same look on her face. Then Omar steals Uma. I knew it. Told you yesterday the exact same outcomes. But it's getting confusing saying Omar and Uma. Anyway, we move. Io looks put out and Uma was sort of awkward smiling. Then Mimi apologizes to Io and Uma walked off. The girls go to hug her. Kieran said to Omar, "Be true to yourself." Omar revealed to the boys that Mimi was more drawn to Io than to him, and he looked disappointed. Now to the girls, except Uma. Harriet said this is the best decision, that they're proud of Mimi. She's putting herself first. Patsy said she would have liked Omar to pick her. They awkwardly laugh. She even says that, was she too forward? She asks him. And he kind of wants to keep the door open. And in the confessionals, Patsy feels it will not go anywhere with Uma. However, as from my last video, I don't believe he likes Patsy in that way either. Anyway, Patsy says it was big girl moves to Mimi, and she said she's ready to see Io's actions. Then Mimi apologizes to Uma, but Uma says there's no need, and she said that Io's implied it's a connection with her. From my view, I say Uma basically did the same thing to Mimi, so they're kind of even. Anyway, Jess is ready to get Io to confront the two girls together with Io, and the boys are nervous for this, but they're ready to watch. So get your popcorn out because this is drama time. Io, Mimi, and Uma are together, and Uma said they need to clear the air. She said he's more about her, but he said they're getting along well, he's enjoying his time with her, but it's the same with Mimi. He said he's not leaning more to anyone, but that he was in a couple with Uma, so naturally he'd get to know her more, but that he'd tried to communicate with them both the same, and also not to take any influence from any others. Uma said basically that she'd blown this out of proportion, and they all understood that will be treated equally. Then they all hugged. Everyone was on the beanbags watching, and somehow Ao returned unscathed, and the boys were impressed how Ao managed that. Ronnie said he was respectful. Uma finds out that Ao would have picked Mimi for the recoupling, and Uma was shocked. The girls feel Mimi should have mentioned this in a three-way chat, and Uma feels like a mug. Io commented that it's worse that Uma's never been in a relationship. What do you think? Has Uma blown this out of proportion? Comment below. It's night time and Io and Mimi kiss. Then it's morning time with the squinty eyes and the sunglasses. Uma looks unhappy and she feels awkward. She cried and said that she feels like a mug. Jess sees that Uma likes Io but has underplayed it. Mimi's with the girls and she said that she cuddled and kissed Io last night, and Jess said Uma will be really upset. Io is happy to be coupled up with Mimi but understands Uma's cut up about this and said he'll clear the air. Joey said Mimi and Uma are very different and he wonders who was actually going to get Io. For me, it really feels like it's going around in circles. Anyway, Jess feels that Io should tell Uma about the kiss, and Io wants this to stay in confidence, so Jess jokingly compares him to Ronnie. Io said girls get giddy, and to be honest, Mimi has said this many times in the confessionals that she's giddy over him, so he's not wrong about that. Io reveals to the boys that Mimi revealed the kiss to the girls, and now he has to somehow tell Uma, and Joey says this needs to come from you as girls talk quick, so it's like a race against time. Well, sort of. Joey says it's a madness. Honestly, Joey has been the voice of reason. I know people might disagree and say that he's like a plot, like a producer, and that he's causing the madness, but honestly, he's making entertainment. Anyway, Uma says to Io that she's not happy basically, and she felt they were in a great place, they were holding hands, and he tells her that he kissed Mimi, and she looks as if she's going to cry, and she walks off upset. The boys are watching awkwardly, and then they get a text. It's a challenge. It's called On Job, and they're buzzing. It's a kind of panto office setup, and as part of the game, Harriet chooses Ronnie as a positive choice to be part of the game with, and then chooses Kieran for a swill of a drink as sort of the negative balance for it, and that's for office gossip and for having the loudest voice in the villa. Likewise, Patsy chooses Manveer for the positive, then Ronnie for a swill for disciplinary actions. Uma chooses Sean for the positive, and Io for a swill for a lack of accountability and that she's not sure where she stands. And he disagrees. Nicole chooses Kieran for a positive, then Omar for a swill as a payback for the previous balloon game. Mimi chooses Io for the positive, then Ronnie for a swill. Samantha chooses Joey for a positive. His reactions as to where he should put his hands in this game were quite hilarious. Anyway, then she chooses Kieran for a swill for being a kid. Jess chooses Sean for a positive, then Ronnie for a swill for inappropriate behaviours like the speech and his recent behaviours. But what a day for Sean, and he's a bit less of a corny boy now. The girls advise Mimi to speak to Uma as she now knows of the kiss. So Io reveals the kiss to the boys and they seem shocked. Jess said that Ronnie should know where his head is at, and he said he's starting to know, but noticeably he doesn't reveal who. It looks like he kissed Jess last night, and she said she wouldn't tell Harriet of the kiss. However, I missed that when they did kiss, but Jess is under the impression that Ronnie would definitely choose her over Harriet. I've not seen that yet, where she got that from, but that's what she thinks. Ronnie tells Uma that Io likes her and she wants an apology from him. Meanwhile, Io was with Mimi again at the terrace where it all began really for them. Again, Uma said she feels like a mug, which again is very repetitive and going in circles. The villa can see them on the terrace, as in Mimi and Io, and Jess said it's an audacity, and Manveer disagrees. Meanwhile, Uma's watching very closely and she looks fuming. So Mimi says she's feeling exposed on the terrace. She knows they can all see her, but Ao, he wants her to move closer, and she said she's feeling happy and also with her decision. They inevitably kiss. Sean said it's every man for himself. Ronnie and Harriet chat. He said he's getting to know both girls, that he likes them both and to get to know them more, and that he's not leaning either way. But honestly, where is he leaning? We don't know. In the confessionals, he said he doesn't even know what's on his own mind, and that he will need to make a decision soon. So again, it's all going in circles. Io is with Uma, and she's upset with him and thinks he doesn't care, that he doesn't comfort her, and he said he doesn't know where he stands with her, but she said she's always been open and she doesn't want a triangle, and she makes it clear that she likes him. Like I said, he's been pulling a Kieran and he's stringing the girls along, but the girls are kind of letting him. In the confessionals, he said he'll be honest. He's not leaning towards anyone, but he is drawn to Mimi as he knows her more. Harriet told Patsy Ronnie's flirting with her all day and said he's thinking of her all night, but she doesn't want to be mugged off. It's honestly the word of the episode. She said that her heart's saying Ronnie, but her head is saying don't. She thinks maybe it's physical, and she thinks Ronnie is confused. Jess and Harriet then chat. She says there's an undeniable physical connection with her and Ronnie, and she's confirmed that they kissed last night. Harriet said Ronnie said he was thinking of her all night and that they were flirting all day, and Jess looks fuming. Meanwhile, Ronnie is pleased with himself that he's getting away with this, and Kieran thinks he'll make the right decision soon. The girls, though, however, they were looking fuming. The episode was okay, but what's going on with the girls as they're not taking a stand and making their own decisions to not stand for being in a triangle and to not wait for the boys to decide, but to know their own worth and to remove themselves first. Anyway, what did you think of the episode? Also, there's a vote for your favourite couple. Who will you vote for? Who did you choose? Comment below. Thank you for watching and catch you for the next episode.